I first just want to start with a couple of thank yous as well. Big thank you to Lisa for putting this all together and bringing us all together. Thank you to the other authors, and congratulations to you all for being brave and sharing your hearts with us. And it's not easy to get up here and do this, so thank you. And thank you to my family for coming, my sisters, my mom, and my fiance. Thank you guys for being here. So my name's Emily, and my story is called There Is No Normal. So a little bit of intro of how my story came about is that I was at a weekend retreat this January with a group full of women who inspire me. And the whole theme of the retreat, the whole point of the retreat was working on ourselves. So it was personal development and personal growth work. And we were asked to share a pain that we've been through and then a gain that came out of it. And the truth is, I have been through a lot of pains, but I've always hid them, and I've always been ashamed of them. But for whatever reason, at this retreat, I made a decision that this is the year. I was with a group of women I trusted, and so I started testing the waters. I said, this is the year that I'm going to be brave, and I'm going to just own everything. I'm going to own who I am. And I'm going to use it to inspire people rather than hide from it. So I did that, and it was an amazing experience. I made 30 new best friends instantly, because it's amazing what happens when you let yourself be vulnerable and how you let people in instead of pushing them out. So I made that decision in my head, and then I got a text from my sister Lindsay, who's also one of the authors in this book, and she said, hey, do you still want to be part of this women's sharing book that I told you about and share maybe your story? And so I was like, yes, your timing's amazing, I'm in. So it was a cool timing. So what is my story? You can read more about it in the book. But basically I have been through a lot of physical challenges and differences that I was born into. So the first one is Beals syndrome. This is a rare connective tissue disorder, which is characterized by really long and lean body type, underdeveloped muscle, underdeveloped bone mass, and it's very rare, so if you haven't heard of it, I wouldn't be surprised. And it also causes everything to be very contracted and very tight. So it doesn't really cause a ton of pain, but just physically I look very different. So the fingers don't straighten all the way, my arms don't straighten all the way, they're actually contracted at all the joints, as well as they're just very long and lean. And then I was also born with something called club feet. And this is where your feet are either turned in or out, and mine were turned so far in that they were pinned up against my legs. The doctors weren't sure if I'd ever be able to walk when I was born, so I went through several surgeries as a baby, and then another one in, I think it was high school, and then another one in college. And so they're almost flat. The left one still gives me trouble, and I still have to wear special shoes, but I can walk. And so I talk in the story about going through that and what it was like growing up constantly in casts or in braces or in a wheelchair and just feeling and looking so different from everyone. And then as I got older, if that wasn't enough, I developed really, really aggressive scoliosis, which is a curvature of the spine. So my back started curving rapidly. I had a huge lump in my back. I wore baggy clothes to try and cover the lump. And it was painful because the muscles are fighting against the bone. And when I was 14, the doctor said to my parents that if they didn't operate as soon as possible, sorry, I just looked at my sister. Almost going here. They said if they didn't operate as soon as possible, that my spine would have crushed my lungs because the curve was so severe. So my parents were hesitant to let me have the surgery because it's a high-risk surgery. They had to cut me like my whole upper body open basically, and then put titanium rods in. So that's all in the book. Going through surgery, obviously I made it out. I'm very thankful. But there was a near-death experience, I believe, that happened during my recovery. So that's in the story as well. And I'd like to finish off by just reading you kind of what I took away from going through all of that, and what I want my message to be for anyone who reads my story, and for you all who are here listening. Thank you so much for listening. So it says, the older I get, the more I realize that I'm alive, and I'm still here for a good reason. I've got a lot of people to help and inspire, and somewhere out there is a young girl or a boy, or maybe another adult with Beals syndrome, with clubbed feet, with scoliosis, or with any physical difference for that matter. And they are wondering why God did this to them, just like I did. They're wondering if they will ever love their body. They're wondering if a man or a woman will ever love them, if they'll ever fit in. They're wondering if they'll ever feel normal, or if things will ever get better. So if that's you, and you're reading this or listening to this, I'm here to tell you, no, you'll never feel normal. But that's the greatest gift. First of all, there is no normal, because every single human on planet Earth has their share of pain, trauma, differences, insecurities, and hardships to deal with. You can't escape it as a human. Yes, many people do not have it as bad, maybe, as you do physically, but many have it worse. I thank my feet regularly, because despite how they sometimes pain me or embarrass me to show them, they always take me where I need to go. And I've traveled the world with these feet. I can walk. Can you walk? Well, maybe you're in a wheelchair. But is your heart beating? Can you breathe? These are miracles. Take a second now and take time every day to thank your body. Thank your Creator for the gift of life each day when you wake up, because not everybody got to wake up this morning. Whatever you're passionate about, I encourage you to live accordingly. In fact, I demand it of you, and you should demand it of yourself. We don't have the right to throw our lives away and waste time feeling sorry for ourselves. Okay, once in a while you can cry. You can and should feel what you need to feel and not bottle it up. That's never a good idea. But then cry a little, wipe those tears, and get back out there and be the warrior that you were born to be. Thank you.